Happy 2022. I'm Michael Bain. This is Triggered, coming to you as always from the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains, Dragon House Studios, and brought to you, same as last year, by Midway USA. Just about everything for shooting, hunting, in the outdoors. And okay, 2021 is over. I think I said the same thing when 2020 was finally over, but now we're in a new year. And you know, I heard that they had a New Year's party in China, in Wuhan, at the virology lab, and they made this punch, and they spilt some, and it got out, and we're probably all going to be dead by next Friday. That's a joke, I hope. Anyway, I'm looking forward to 2022. We got SHOT Show on the horizon. We have a flood of new guns coming in, including some of the guns that were the most anticipated guns of 2021 that are finally becoming available to us this January. So I wanted to start the year with a Turkish gun. Now, if you recall last year, SDS Imports, one of our advertisers, brings in guns from Turkey. And I made a general comment about Turkish guns, which they have been getting better and better and better. Of course, Arms Corps and the VR80 series shotguns, even Century Arms, their Canik series. The guns coming out of Turkey are really good and are really targeted toward the American market, which is something we may not have seen in the past. So right at the end of the year, this guy arrived at my FFL dealer. And here's a hint. Here's how you can tell if a gun really floats, if you will. It really floats when your FFL dealer hands you the gun, you sign all the paper, and the FFL dealer says, "Can you give me a price on one of those?" That's a good sign. So this is, once again, imported by SDS Imports from, it's Zigana Tarsus. And it's a PX-9 Generation 3. We talked about PX-9 earlier. It's a gun that the company has been working on for a number of years. It's accepted already by a numerous European, South American militaries, police departments. So it's a debug gun. This particular version, though, if you remember the first one, you said, oh, it's a little like a Springfield XD platform, right? This one is a little more Glockish in feel. For example, instead of a frame-mounted safety, I'm having to learn new words for 2022, so you're going to have to bear with me. Instead of a frame-mounted safety, as we saw before, we see the much more common trigger safety that you might see on a Glock or any other striker-fired gun. And if you actually look inside the guy, and the way you look inside of it here, lock it back, push this thing down, loose it up, pull the trigger, slide it off. It looks very Glockish on the inside as well. But what really, really, really strikes me about this gun, what I really, really like about this gun, is it feels just great. And the reason it feels just great, it is crazy adaptable. Obviously, it's 9mm striker-fired semi-automatic polymer frame pistol, right? We got that. But you have 3 back straps of different sizes. You can see there's one on there. Here's 2 here. You also have two sets of side panels. So you got 3 sets of side panels as well. So you can essentially make this gun feel any way that you want it to feel. Also comes with a mag well that you can take on or take off, put on as you prefer. But boy, just handling this gun, it's just right there, which I really like. One thing I like, and maybe they didn't mean to do this, but it's just a fortuitous coincidence, but I doubt it. When I get a good grip on the gun, my thumb, my weak hand thumb, has sort of a resting place here on the lever that releases the slide. Obviously, you have to throw it a long way along, but it makes the gun set easily in my hand. The other thing I like about it a lot is the trigger. It is an excellent, excellent trigger. The other PX-9 had a good trigger on it as well, but this is a step up. Reversible mag well, comes with 2 magazines, an 18 and a 20, unless you live in a slave state, and then you're going to get what you're going to get, probably 2 10-rounders, as I did. Obviously, it's optic ready. You can pop this plate, and put any number of optics on it. Makes it really easy. A green dot fiber optic front sight here and a really good rear sight. I was thinking how nice this sight picture looks. They're Glock cuts, which means you can replace them with Glock sights if you would choose to. Obviously extended barrel threaded for a suppressor. There is a lot really good about this gun. Comes with an IWB holster as well. And is it the greatest IWB holster in the world? No. Will it get you home at night? Yeah, it will do that. Great thing about this whole gun setup is I have to sneak over here and look. About $570 MSRP. Typically what you've seen with these guns, with the PX-9s, you're going to knock $100 off that for street price. So you might want to handle one because when you put them in your hands, you're going to go like, wow, that gun feels great. There's a bunch of different variations of them. This is the tactical. We've got more from 2022 when Triggered returns. Welcome back to Triggered in 2022. And for this segment, I think of it as kind of a public service announcements. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you can order a custom gun without having a large concrete block fall on your head, because you don't want to have that happen. So in front of you right here is a beautiful gun, right? This is beautiful. This is a Henry 4570. And it's got, I think, a 22-inch barrel. It's got the pistol grip stocks. It's a beautiful color case hardened gun. It's from a few years ago, before Henry started putting side lever gates on these puppies. So it's perfect as it sits here. However, I love custom guns, which I think most of you know. You've been watching Shooting Gallery, you've been listening to the podcast, you've been watching Triggered. Over the years, I have always loved custom guns. I wrote about them a lot back in the old days, writing for American Handgunner, the old Guns magazine, a bunch of people like that. But so several years back, I bought this gun from Henry. And I bought it for one reason. I have a 4570 Marlin. I have another 4570 that I'll be telling you about, I think, next week. But I wanted a 50 Alaskan. A 50 Alaskan is a caliber you would use if you needed to really face off against a Tyrannosaurus Rex, or you were meat hunting on Baronosauruses, you know. You needed to throw a chunk of lid. 50 Alaskan is pretty much about as big as you can stuff into a lever action rifle. So I bought this gun. I called up my friend J.D. Jones at SSK, who I've worked with since the 80s, and said, dude, you know, I know you do a lot of 50 Alaskan conversions. I'm going to send you a Henry. Would you mind converting it? He goes, cool. Time passes. Time passes. Time passes. JD retires. SSK gets sold. Time passes. I call. Don't worry, we're working on it. Don't worry, we're working on it. Well, and then I'm not sure we can actually do that conversion. Here's your rifle back. So let me give you some pointers to keep you from leaving a rifle with somebody for 2 or 3 years. When you are going to make a custom gun, the best thing you can do is know the gunsmith personally, because that's a step up. If you don't know the gunsmith personally, it helps to know somebody who knows the gunsmith personally. And more importantly than that, it helps to know somebody who spent a lot of money with the gunsmith. The more money they've spent with the gunsmith, the more the gunsmith is going to pay attention to your job. Now, some gunsmiths, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, when you do, everything goes. Hamilton Bowen comes to mind. Cylinder and Slide Shop in Nebraska comes to mind. Billy Wilson's custom stuff in Arkansas. But when you're doing odd conversions and there's only a few people to do them, it helps to have an intermediary who can kind of move things along for you. In fact, I have an 1895 lever action 405 that is being converted to my perfect lever action 405. I have very specific demands for it, and the conversion is being handled by Andy Larson from Skinner Sights. He's not doing the work, but he knows gunsmiths who've done work on his 1895 that he's really happy with. So that's one thing you really, really, really need to be aware of. The other thing is ask around. Ask around. Who's got what that works well? Because people who have custom guns or guns that are converted that work great will tell you about it. You've heard about my custom shop, my Marlin custom shop 4570. You've heard about 1.5 billion words from it because it's a perfect rifle. They did amazing work on it. What you don't want to do, and oh heaven help us on this, just because people on the internet like it doesn't mean they have the vaguest idea of what they're talking about. I have seen custom guns that were promoted by the guy who had, or the man-woman who had them done, talked about them really super. When I handle a gun, I thought, I wouldn't take this. I would send this back because it's not 100%. And nobody told me that I was paying for 70%. I thought I was paying for 100%. So be very, very careful when you're looking at guns on the internet, or somebody says, I just sent my gun to Joe Bob. He just graduated from Trinidad College, gunsmithing college, and he's looking for somebody's gun to work on. That might not be the heirloom gun you want to have built. But key thing, it takes a long time. I'm assuming the 1895 rifle is going to take a year, year and a half. So it's not that they're going to be able to get it done tomorrow afternoon. But always do your homework on custom guns, and that way you don't get left with either a gun you don't like, or years later you get exactly the same gun and you're going like, wonder what I can do with this now. Hang on, we'll be right back. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Midway USA. Just about everything for shooting, hunting, and the outdoors. Volquartsen Firearms. Excellence is essential. Taurus USA. Prepare and protect. Rock Island Armory Arms Corps. Home of the STK 100. Welcome back to Triggered 2022. And we got to pick up a few things from last year that I wanted to just show you, because stuff that was released right at the very end of the year in December. Remember last year I liked the Taurus GX4 a lot. The GX4, of course, is Taurus's entry in the little bitty, itsy bitsy, polymer frame, striker fired, high capacity Mini 9 sweepstakes, which basically is driving the industry right now. You saw last year, we saw everybody who wasn't there came in. Of course, Mossberg, Kimber, Taurus with the GX4, Ruger. So that way you have them along with the founder, if you will, the SIG 365. You have the Hellcat, you have the Smith & Wesson Plus. Everybody's in the market. The FN product, Beretta's sort of in the market. They're all very good. I thought the GX4 was an exceptional little gun. And one of the reasons that I thought it was an exceptional little gun is it's an inexpensive little gun. And to me, the Mini 9mm represent the best carry guns ever made by gun makers. It's as if gun makers finally discovered, number one, people carry guns every day. Number two, carrying a gun has certain requirements to make it easier to carry. You know, so you're not going to carry that big blaster who the instructor said, you know, forget it, you got to dress around it, you always got to wear a trench coat, you got to do all those things. You're not going to do any of those things, right? So the important thing is that you be able to have a good gun, a powerful gun, preferably a 9mm, which is what we're talking about here, and you want all the BBs you can get in the gun, because you never know. So the thing I like best about the Taurus is it's inexpensive. You know, we're looking at, I don't know, I think 400, 450, somewhere in that range MSRP for this guy without the sight cut. But now you have the option of this guy with the sight cut. This is a GX4, and it's part of the Taurus optical system, T.O.R.O. And it allows you to place the red sight that you would choose on this gun. It is cut for basically what we think of as the thin line red sights, now manufactured by everybody on earth. This one of the first ones, this is from the English company Shield. It's an RMS-C compact, and you can see how it fits. Of course, then you have the Sig Romeo Zero, designed for the 365. Swap Fox Sentinel, a really excellent, really low-cost sight. Everybody at this point has a small sight that works. So it's your choice. I think Crimson Trace has a small sight that works. The Holosuns, I've really been impressed with the Holosun 407K and 507K. The K designation is for their narrow versions. I have both a 407K and a 507K. The difference between the two is the 507 has the adjustable reticles, different reticles that you can change to a dot and a donut, a dot, bigger dot, blah, blah. You can find almost all these sights in either red dot or green dot, your preference. From my standpoint, I like green dots. The reason I like green dots is my eyes are old. They pick them up faster. So I like that a lot. And as I mentioned before in the last show from last year, I'd shot a qualification with one of the Holosuns with a dot and a donut, and it was great to me. It was quick, it was fast. I got to where I really liked that reticle. So you can pick the dot. I think it's like a little 450, something like that, 475 MSRP. You're always going to be able to find these GX4s at a little less than that. One thing I do like about the way they cut this gun is the plate, the optics plate, is forward of the rear sight. That's important because a lot of these little sights have a channel that you can use as a rear sight. But in this particular case, with the slightly forward mounted shield, you can actually use the existing rear sight on the GX4 that is co-witnessing with the red dot on the shield. It's an excellent setup. It makes for a really small carry package. Trigger, as I said, this new generation of mini 9mm has triggers to make the old generation weep. Weep, I tell you. 11 and 13 in the magazine, unless you're in a slave state, then you get two 10-round magazines. This is, to me, one of the best values in the mini 9mm market, period. It's an excellent gun. So, I'm Michael Bain. This is Triggered 2022. And we are brought to you, as always, by Midway USA. Just about everything for shooting, hunting, and the outdoors. And we will see you next week with some surprises.